the Holy Land. What was going on in 1917? World War I. So World War I comes along, and they say, all right, Britain, you take this Holy Land. The Holy Land is a wasteland. They fought war there. They were fighting the Turks and everybody up here in this Jezreel Valley. Jezreel Valley, by the way, is where this thing is going to end up. We've been talking about Jezreel Valley, right? When we were talking about the Battle of Armageddon. Well, in 1917, they handed it over to the Brits. Well, what do you got? You got a wasteland, and then you got two peoples living there, Palestinians and Jews. And they say, all right, y'all just take care of the land. You oversee it until you can figure out how to settle this land here. Well, guess what? They got the same problem everybody's had since 1917. You can't fix it. The Palestinians don't want to be here with the Jews. So the Palestinians rocked along with it until 1948. And then, or the Britons, the UK, rocked along with it till 1948. And then in 1948, Britain said, look, we're getting out. So they handed off to the UN. Well, the UN says, all right, here's what we're going to do, boys. We're going to do a two-state solution. We're going to give the Palestinians 46% of the land, and we're going to give the Jews 54% of the land. But now here's how we're going to do it. Part of the land is going to be common. We got some economic bureaucracy, they got all kind of action items in here. Here's how it's going to work. And everybody's like, cool. Well, this plan works for like 10 seconds. So on May 14th, 1948, Britain flies. The Jews are declared a nation. Yay! 11 minutes later, Harry Truman comes out and says, awesome. We declare that you're a legitimate Jewish nation. 21 other nations come out and say, yes, you are, Jews. Way to go. And the same day, 7 Arab nations, go to war with them. And those 7 Arab nations had 2,000 tanks. And the Jews had 0 tanks. Well, that's a pretty bad start to a two-state solution. And so here come the Egyptians, here come the Jordanians, here come the Saudis, here come the Lebanese, here comes everybody after them. But by 1949, the Jews won. How many of you see the hand of God right there? Amen. It was impossible. They were outnumbered. They were outgunned. It was crazy. But they won. And they did a magnificent thing. And the reason they won is because of Ezekiel 36 and Ezekiel 37. God said, I'm going to do this. That they didn't win because they were Rambo. That they won because God said, I'm going to raise you up. And this was the super sign of the very last of the last days. This was a sign that everybody was looking for. You're a little premature to think, well, Jesus is coming, look to the eastern sky, until Israel becomes a nation. And boy, did they ever become a nation. They absolutely became a nation. But ever since then, the Shiites have not changed their program. But at the end of 49, but when they got through routing the Arabs, the ones that were living there, 3,000 or so went into Jordan. Well, that's right beside them. A bunch of them went into the Gaza Strip. That's right there. That's right here. Do you know how close that is to lobbing rockets into Jerusalem? Very. Jordan is right here. Some of them went into Syria. That's right here. You know, when Damascus, when Paul and Silas took their missionary journey, they left Damascus and went to Cyprus. It's right here. See how close that is? See, that's where they're lobbing rockets from. But see, there's also a prophecy that Damascus is going to be absolutely flattened, going to be destroyed completely. And we're going to talk about that prophecy as well. There's a prophecy that says that Damascus is going to be absolutely wiped out. Now, does it happen before the rapture? I don't know. Does it happen after the rapture? I'm not sure. That there's a prophecy that says Elam over here. Elam, here's the Zagros Mountains. Here's the Persian Gulf. Elam goes all the way down through here. Iran, as you guys know, have been building, you know, the big thing about Elam is they've been working on a nuclear weapon for a while. And when Trump was in office in 2018, he dumped the JCPOA deal, which was basically the nuclear deal, because he said it was a stupid deal. And he started putting sanctions on them. And he was trying to starve them out. And as soon as Trump got out of office, you know, Obama had already been sending them piles of cash, keep this thing going. And then Trump shut it down. And then as soon as Trump got out, Biden started sending them money again. Lifted the sanctions up. Well, where are they building this thing? They've got a nuclear facility right on the water in the Persian Gulf. And as you probably assumed, Israel's got submarines, nuclear subs in this Persian Gulf, pointed at Elam. This side of this mountain range here is the western side of Iran. And this is where they're doing it. They're doing it underground here, but they got a nuclear reactor right on the water here. If something happens to this, remember 50% of the world's oil reserves are in this area. A lot of the oil that is shipped out comes out of the Persian Gulf. If a nuclear reactor, if an incident, just say like Chernobyl, were to happen down on this Persian Gulf. For instance, Iran just, if you've listened to the news this week, has just threatened, we're fixing to get you. Well, they've already tried to get them one time, and the Iron Dome and Jordan. Isn't it amazing that even the Gulf states over here understand, hey, we got to help Israel. Even Jordan was kicking in. Saudi Arabia is kicking in, because they understand you can't do this. Because if Israel goes over here and does something, which they will, Israel don't have any choice. They will. But if a nuclear accident happens over here, and where they're going to attack is right here, because this is where their stuff is. It's underground. It's nuclear programs. It's underground stuff. That's where they're doing the uranium. They got it buried right in here. And stupidly, they've got a reactor right here on the water. Because if the water gets poisoned, then I don't know what the UAE and all those guys are going to do that are, not to mention, most of Iran will probably be protected by these mountains. But when Chernobyl hit, as soon as the wind caught that radiation, it was poisoning the heck out of everybody. And something similar is going to happen, and it's going to take that over on Arab people very quickly. It's going to take it over on Bahrain. It's going to take it over on the UAE. It's going to take it over on a bunch of people that you would think they would like, but Iran really don't care. Iran, see, a Shiite Muslim does not care to sacrifice other Shiite Muslims or Sunni Muslims or their mama. They will strap a bomb to themselves because their idea is this: if you kill us, we go to heaven. If we kill you, you go to hell. Win-win. That's their rationale. So anyway, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? And it is interesting watching it play out. If it wasn't so dadgum serious. But this is probably the coolest thing ever happened right here since we've been alive. Amen? Yeah. It's very cool. But it's also, I'd be very afraid if I was Iran. Because Iran has to know that they know where their stuff is, and Iran has to know that they will do this. They have to know that because they are crazy too, and they really have no choice. But anyway, they will never stop until one or the other is dead. If Iran gets a nuclear bomb, they will drop it on Israel and try to kill 1 million Israelis. And they don't care if Israel responds. I really don't believe they do. So what about the Jeremiah 49 prophecy? Let's just look at that prophecy, just so you'll know it's in there. Since we're going slow. And really, this is really in the news. Jeremiah 49, and drop down to verse 34. In my Bible, it's headed the prophecy against Elam. The word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet against Elam in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah. Remember who Zedekiah was. Zedekiah was the very last king when Nebuchadnezzar was in power, and he was running Judah. He was really like a plant of Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar had put him in there and to kind of run things and keep him informed. And Zedekiah even rebelled against Nebuchadnezzar. So when he did, Nebuchadnezzar said, that's it. Go over there and sack Jerusalem and bring them all into exile. And that's what he did. So Zedekiah was the last king of Judah before the exile. So that's when Jeremiah is writing this thing. Beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. Now, I want you to think about that word bow, because we think of a bow as deer hunters. We think of the bow like this. But I want you to think about modern day bows as what are we slinging? Projectiles that we're slinging. Now we're slinging hypersonic projectiles. And we have release mechanisms that can sling ballistic missiles. And now Iran just threatened Israel that, hey, we can send a missile over there in, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. I forget what they told them. But they said, we can hit you in 6 minutes. You know, this is like a release mechanism. So it's like a bow, modern day bow. And the Lord is saying, I'm going to break your bow, Elam. Elam, I'm going to break your bow. Whatever your release mechanism is, whatever missile, projectile. And if you go back to Isaiah, I want to go slow. I'm trying. You go back to Isaiah, you can study, you'll find Elam in there. He was a bowman. You can go back further than that, you can find that when you find these names, first thing you'll find out is they were the son of somebody and his name was Elam. And then you'll find out a few centuries later, he became a people group, the people of Elam. And they settled in a geographic area, and now they have mastered a craft. And the people of Elam were bowmen, and they were living in a certain place. And this is where they were living. Elam, bowmen. Well, these Elams are launching projectiles. And you know what they're doing? Their groups are launching projectiles too. How many missiles has Hezbollah launched? How many missiles has Gaza launched? So, bowmen. Think about it like that. Anyway, the Lord says, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. That's what they do. They hide and they launch missiles. And upon Elam will I bring the four winds from the four quarters of heaven and will scatter them toward all those winds. And there shall be no nation whither the outcasts of Elam shall not come. For I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies and before them that seek their life. And I will bring evil upon them, even my fierce anger, saith the Lord. And I will send the sword after them till I have consumed them. So God, in this prophecy, is upset with these people. Why is he upset with them? Because I will bless. If you better bless what he blesses. He will curse them that curse Israel. If you bless Israel, he will bless you. If you curse his people, you got a curse coming. And boy, Elam is the main progenitor of cursing Israel. And they've been doing it, just 24/7. And so they got a curse coming. And I don't know how deep I want to get in this because I'm trying to slow down. But Elam was one of the sons of one of Shem's sons, the son of Noah. And I don't know how deep we want to go with this. But and again, let me give you a caveat here. I don't believe that any of this applies to the Iranian people, because I believe the Iranian people are good folks. I really do. And I believe if they could get this regime off of them in a heartbeat, they would do it. I believe more than 70% of the people of Iran want these people gone. And I believe, as I said, that a Christian revival is going on over there. They've had, since 2022, more than 4,000 street protests been going on in Iran. More than 21,000 protesters have been arrested. More than 550 people have been killed over there in the last 2 years. And that was just for demonstrating their desire for change. So if you think I know it's getting tough over here sometimes to feel like we've got freedom, but believe me, upside Sharia law, we still got a lot of freedom over here. And so, and also the Russians, one of the things I think happened is that when this guy, when the Ayatollah came in, I believe Russia sent a bunch of KGB guys down in there to help Ayatollah get his police force set up, because Russia definitely assisted the Ayatollah in getting his power base set up. And when you come in as a new dictator, you got a lot of problems. But nobody knows how to settle those disputes better than the KGB. The communists have always been great at just murdering everybody that opposes you. I mean, probably the only people that surpass, well, even the Nazis did not ever surpass, even though the Nazis got a bad rap, they never surpassed the communists. People think of Nazis and they think, oh, hey, the communists killed many more people than the Nazis ever thought about. And people just don't know it because the hype of the Nazis has been overblown upside the communists. People ought to be overblowing what the communists did. But if you read the stats, you'll find out that the communists have killed many more people than the Nazis ever did. The Nazis are evil, and the communists are more evil. They're all evil. But I'm telling you, the communists know how to run a dictatorship. And I think that's exactly where the Ayatollah got his help. Now, at the end of this thing, he says, I'm going to cause Elam to be dismayed. And that means that there's going to be alarm, concern, distress due to sudden danger or trouble. And I say that about the communists because today we have a lot of socialists moving in to America. And I'm going to tell you, socialists are a heartbeat away from communists. There's very little difference between a socialist and a communist. But see, Americans don't know that because they've never lived under socialism or communism. Socialism is like the first step, and then communism. Socialism is like, it works in steps. First they get the students, because man, socialism sounds good. It sounds like utopia. But how many of you know there is no utopia? In order to have perfection, you have to have perfect people. But when I give you the power, how many of you know you come back with a baseball bat and take everything? See, it sounds good if we all have the same thing. We ought to all have the same thing. But then all of a sudden we find out we're all running around here with little white suits on, with a little white bowl, eating the same little spoonful of white rice every day.
That's right.
And then we're like, man, I don't like this. Well, you all got the same thing. We got a little hut out back for you to live in too.
Everybody works.
They all the same. And see, that's what it turns into. Well, that isn't what was promised. But see, the people that are administering communism are living in a big, fine palace. See, it doesn't apply. They don't apply the principle to themselves. They don't want to live in the hut. They don't want to take the bowl. They don't want to wear the clothes. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't look like that. Boy, it sure sounds good when you're smoking dope.
Amen.
Dropping a little acid. Drinking a little booze. Sure sounds good. But then they take your dope and your booze. Give you a bowl. Get in the hut. Oh, now we got to go to work. Bust those rocks. All right. Well, the Ayatollah has a 9-point plan for the extermination of Israel. And that might kindle the wrath of God. He said they are rabid dogs. He said, you know, and you've got to put down a rabid dog. They must be annihilated. That's what he said. But what would happen if, like I said, what would happen if we have like a Chernobyl incident? And this, you know, what may happen if this Jeremiah 49 prophecy comes to pass, what may happen, as I said, is Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Bahrain would be affected within 15 hours from the wind patterns, and they get 30% of the world's oil through the Persian Gulf. Not to mention drinking water, 50% of the world's oil reserves, as I said. Imagine the impact on the stock market. You think you just had a little stock market swing? Imagine what the stock market would do then. Barrel of price of oil would go nuts, impacting fuel, which impacts everything. Impacts your food, impacts everything that we buy. It impacts everything. So we need to hope this happens after the rapture. But if they keep poking the bear, it may happen really quick, like this week. You know, who knows? Who knows? And there may be some, you know, there may be plenty of skirmishes before Jeremiah 49. But if you didn't know the Jeremiah 49 prophecy was in there, there is a Jeremiah prophecy about Elam, and Elam is Iran. So I hope that was a little slower. I hope you got a little something out of it. And I'll try to go again slow next couple of weeks. Then I might take off running again.
How are you, Mr. B? I'm good. Lord keeps telling me you. You're even in my dreams. He keeps saying that you're a warrior and you're a force. I don't know what that means, but you are a force to be reckoned with. I don't know why, but it's just here. You are a warrior and you are a force. Suck it up. So I said, that's crazy. And I know that's crazy. But, you know, it hit me Sunday on a dream, and there you were again.